Welcome to the Mentor Studio, where today's thought leaders and leading entrepreneurs inspire and bring real-world ideas that help you take your career to levels you've only dreamed of. Now buckle in. Here's your host, Michael Silvers.
All right, everybody, I wanted to welcome you all to the Mentor Studio. Thank you so much for being back. I really appreciate with everything going on. And it's funny because I'm going to talk about something going on now, but I know you'll be listening to this in 5 years and you'll be like, we're through that. We're now at something else. There's always something that's going to come up in life that creates that block that moves us forward. And it's really how we deal with it at the moment. So right now, a lot of us are in our homes because we're staying safe, not for us, but we're staying safe because we're creating safety for others out there. We're making sure that the essential workers don't have more than they need to do. We're making sure that we're not in the car accident that doesn't need to happen, because right now we need to take care of those that need to be taken care of. The medical system, people who are elderly, people who have challenges, people whose lungs don't handle it as well, and really to show our children that we're just asked to stay home, right? If you look at my grandparents, were asked to go to war, and I'm being asked to stay home, and I think we can do this. So it's time to do that and do this really for ourselves. Part of that, the call today, is I'm about to introduce Mr. Larry Gilman. I was told over and over, and I knew Larry before, but I was told many, many times by another mentor of mine, Mr. Hardbecker, you need to go to that course. If you're going to continue down this road with me or with doing anything with the potentials, you're going to go to this man's course. And I went to Mastery. I cried. I laughed. I thought, I've been to a million courses like this. And yeah, I mean, the first night I'm crying. I'm like, oh, I cannot believe this. But it changed my life in the first night. And I had been going to 15 years of personal development and working on myself. And I know it's a lifelong journey. I do understand. But this man's course changed my life. And it's even being on stage for me has never been the same because I realized clearly it's not about me. So I'm going to turn this over, let him talk as much as he wants because it really did change my life. He'll tell you some about his background. And this is a call you want to just listen to. If you're driving, for those of you essential workers who are listening to this, just keep your hands on the steering wheel. Don't close your eyes if we ever ask you to. But just stay focused. And then when you're at home, take as many notes as you can, because this is the call that is going to be important for you at this moment and at any moment in your life. Without any further ado, I'd like to give a huge, thunderous, warm welcome to Mr. Larry Gilman.
Thank you so much, Michael. That's very sweet of you. It really is great. And you actually touched on a couple of things that I think are very important. And the very first one was perspective. Yes. The unfortunate part is I don't know that all of our leaders right now have perspective. That without getting political, because the amazing thing is this virus doesn't care if you're Republican, Independent, or Democratic. It kills or affects everybody. And not to have perspective. They set up something years ago. Obama set it up years ago. 3 years ago, they took it down, and it was the PREDICT organization, which was there because they knew H1N1, SARS, MERS, Ebola, all happened within our lifetimes, actually within the last 20 years. So it didn't take brain surgery to go, holy mackerel, this is happening all the time. What can we do? Let's set up an organization that can actually look at this and be able to be prepared. And what does this guy do? Without me going into a huge rant, he disorganizes it. He takes it out because it would save $5 million a year. This organization was only there for people so that they could not only see this coming, but once they got it, and if we look at the historical facts, in November, China knew they had it. In December, it started coming out. We know we have intelligence. We knew about it. Now, if you do not read the intelligence reports, which repeatedly he has said he does not pay attention to, he could have known. Then they actually came out with it in public. Now, all of this, before I'm not just ranting, please everybody understand this. I am angry because of the inaction and the lack of consciousness to take care of the people that you said you wanted to take care of by being elected. He has claimed no responsibility. So I'm talking about vision. I'm talking about consciousness. I'm talking about responsibility here. And each of us, doesn't matter whether you like it or not. One of the teaching things that I do, coming from an Aristotelian point of view, is a thing is what it is. You do not have to like it, but not seeing reality because you don't like it, because you don't want it to be there, does not make it go away. And so for me, we have very smart people who refuse to see the reality as it is because it doesn't fit with their image of themselves or how they want to be perceived or how they want to take it. So in this case, though, this is costing people's lives.
Right.
He said years ago, I could walk down Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody. Well, now you don't even have to walk down because of your inaction, because of you didn't want to believe it, because you refused to read intelligence reports, because you even got memos from people who told you. This is now public information. I'm not making this stuff up. People have died. American lives have been lost. And other people say, I want to shake people. So this is on a major scale, but this is the same thing on a personal scale. That one of the things we need to have not only perspective on is we need to set ourselves up for the future. That we cannot pretend like we don't know what we know. And because we don't like it, say, oh, it's not going to happen. Now, the other thing is, which is really infuriating, American people the world over are dying and they're getting sick and their compromised immune systems are even being more compromised. He's making money off of people's illness. And one of the primary tenets is the president should not be invested in anything that he will get monetary value for, because now he says, I'm not a doctor, but then he's prescribing things for medicine. Now, I don't care if he's Republican or Democrat. I truly don't. What I'm looking at is the person who is making choices that do not benefit, that are not responsible to take care of America, and he's the only one benefiting. He can't do his rallies anymore. He's now taking these press conferences and making it about him rather than American people. We don't have enough medical equipment. We don't have enough supplies. Okay. The point is, if we're going to look at this as a personal crisis, I want everybody to look at and start looking at. Look at the facts, not the opinions, not what you believe. Beliefs are not facts. Beliefs are based on us being right about our beliefs. It's not bad, but you got to know it's not a fact. And so for us, this is about getting conscious. And most people do not want to get conscious because then they have to confront reality rather than trying to negotiate reality. And all we've been seeing is for the last 3 months, he's negotiated reality until he can't not. And it has killed people. Most of us on our level, we don't kill people. But we also are not acting as smart as we are. We're pretending to be conscious when we're actually not being conscious because we don't like the reality, so we try to negotiate it. Mm-hmm. And in terms of perspective for all of us, we can't imagine that this is going to go away. We can't imagine that if we don't pay attention to our relationships, that the problem will solve itself. We can't pretend like if we do not handle a problem in business, it's going to go away. And we can pretend the biggest one is if I don't like something, I can pretend like it's not there, that it's not going to affect me. My vulnerability, my openness, my ability to be in relationship with people, my ability to actually do something in a way that allows people to get bigger, to be more of themselves, to be more vulnerable without it looking like it's going to be a threat to me. And so this is just on a macro scale is really a great example on a micro scale of what we don't like to look at. We don't want to confront. And confront for me is just, you look at the root of the word is meeting with, the con with, in front of me, meeting with those situations that are tough. Life's tough, but it's also easy. Where the toughness comes in, we resist what's right in front of us. And the more you resist it, the more it stays there because you're already putting a pressure against it. You're literally holding it in place by resisting it.
Just one thing on this too. No, this is great. No. I was going to let you go. I was just thinking too, because so many people that I talk to right now, they're hooked. They can't let go, whether they're watching CNN or Fox or MSNBC.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I want to know what's going on because there is that fear that it's not going to end. And they are literally watching it 10 hours a day. Keep going. This is great.
Yes. And it's feeding into the system of not only fear. So most of what's happened in the last 3 years have been fear-based, and really horrible things have started to happen because of that and probably take years to resurrect. However, this balance that we used to have in life before this, almost everybody's out of balance and they don't have a lot of outlet to express without justifying or without defending. So one of the things that is so important is to get the facts of what's day to day because they're helpful, because they're changing. You know, for 1 week, you're not supposed to wear a mask and now it's mandated you're supposed to wear a mask. You're supposed to wear gloves, goggles. Okay, that's really important information. 6 feet social distance. That's really great information. Don't go out unless you have to. Stay in place. The more we stay in place, the less it'll actually propagate, which the numbers seem to be bearing that out. If we can stay the course, as you said earlier, we cannot get unconscious or pretend like it's still not going on because we're impatient. Mm-hmm. My parents fought a war. I can stay at home. Yes. You may have to get back into relationship with your relationships. Not only with them, but with yourself about your relationship, because it's always me, the other person in the relationship, and then my relationship, not only with me, but my relationship with the relationship, let alone my relationship with the other person. Mm-hmm. And people they want it to go away. They just want it to be easy rather than we're expanding. We have a chance through life every day to be more vulnerable, to be more open, to meet with the things that we like, we don't like, that we have a chance to grow up. We have a chance to take the next step. We have a chance to be more compassionate. We have a chance to be kinder. We have a chance to look at our system and how right we are about being right. And if we start looking, it's not bad that you're right, but if you get righteous about, you get right about being right, you get righteous and you stop seeing. And when you stop seeing, it's only about protecting your point of view, your way of doing it, your way of understanding. And then we stop to see the other person as a human being. We start to see them as the problem, the enemy, the cause of my frustration, the cause of my anger, the cause of my upset. And that's where people don't want to take responsibility. Anything that happens to us is ours. Now, if we're a little kid, that's something different. If someone means to hurt us, yes, we can be a victim of the incident, but we need to be responsible for putting ourselves in that place to begin with. We see things way ahead of when they actually become right in our face. And then we want to blame the other person for us not being responsible for what we saw. Mm-hmm. Because it's an upset. And for me, an upset is the set of how I am doing things is now up to take a look at. Okay? People say, I'm really upset. And they want you to be responsible for their upset. No. It's your upset. Your set is the one that's up for looking at. I may have said something. I may have done something that caused that, but it's yours. And we need to start being responsible. And the hard part is when day after day after day, you see someone who refuses to take responsibility, then the country at large, let alone the communities, the states, the region, all want to. He's a blamer, has no responsibility for anything, except for things that are untrue, that he wants to take credit for. There's a lot of things. However, we can change it. We are the only ones in this country who can actually say no more. And I've really been surprised, actually, at how much people are now, we're being extraordinarily creative, how to get out of the states or having to come up with their own money. People are helping and donating things to doctors and to medical people for supplies, for extra ventilators, money for that, to take care of them. Where's the leadership? And so if we take it back on a personal level, where do you let go of your leadership, of your life, yourself, what you know, what you're vulnerable to? And it's all going to be messy. There is no life that's just clean, except if you're living in a cave and then already you're dirty. But there's electronic computers. I just was on with Apple for 2 hours and it's all messy in there. And the guy was even saying, oh, no. These guys like to sneak and they hide back here and they hide back here. And we have to look for all the places where they've hidden. And we as people have an opportunity now that we are home, now that we have a chance to, if only I had the time. Well, we have the time now to start looking at where's our balance in our life. Are we working way too much and not actually taking care of ourselves or giving ourselves a chance to recover so we actually can go back and do the next day in some kind of great shape as opposed to, oh, I can't wait for the weekends. And then you collapse. Where's our balance in our relationships? Where's our balance in how much money we need or how much money we have to make or how much time we put into that as opposed to what do we let go of? Relationship with self, relationship with our loved ones, relationship with our business partners, relationship with people we're talking to, that we look for shortcuts to get the content versus the relationship. And in every single business, every single partner relationship, the more attention you pay to the relationship, not only does your credibility and trust go up, but the fact that everyone feels valued. And by being valued, they give more of themselves because as they give more, they are acknowledged for getting more value back. And this is a great time to take a look and see, who have I not acknowledged? Who have I not told that I really care about them? Who have I not told that they make a huge difference in my life, that every little thing they do really makes a difference? And this is a great time to discover, what are you passionate about that you've never given yourself permission to follow through on? This is a great time for people to start playing the piano or painting or writing or drawing or singing or just even appreciating now going out in nature. I created something 7 years ago that I never knew would be such a godsend now, in that I created a vineyard. Everybody thought I was totally nuts. There's no guarantee on any of it, except every step along the way, I was so thrilled with my ability to figure it out, to create it, to make something. And now it's quite beautiful. Along the way, it wasn't. People thought I was freaking nuts. Have I ever done this before? No. All the stuff that we run into. And now I go up there, and to be able to work outside, to be able to be in nature, to be able to dig in the soil, to be able to do all the little things that really make the vines healthy and the hill healthy, and the ability to keep coming up with solving problems, solving the situations as they come up. I don't like them all, but if I don't solve them, I get bitten in the ass. The cool thing about the vineyard is year after year, it just tells me right there. But if I do solve it, I really take care of it for the next year and the next year, having perspective to say, if I plant this, I have to wait a minimum, my thought was 4 or 5 years before I even ever see the possibility of a grape growing. And even if it grows, there's no guarantee it'll be good. And even if it's good, there's no guarantee it'll make good wine. It'll be a good harvest. And even if it's a good harvest, no guarantee that once everything's done, it's going to make a good wine. So it's all because why? I'm passionate about the process, not just the result. And so by doing this, I've given my family a chance to go outside, be safe, dig in the earth, feel everything you do in the vineyard. Almost you can see the result almost right away. So there's this great deal of satisfaction of, who knew that by having some perspective and saying, I'm following my passion now, 7 years later, it's going to be this place where I'm not housebound. I can go up the hill right behind my house. I feel great and be out in the air and looking at the vistas. And now that there's not so many cars driving, the air is cleaner and the earth is taking a breath. And the joy of coming down and being dirty and going, this is awesome. So we do need to have a perspective, both for, I know people are in trouble economically now, and it's why have you not planned for the future? Not to set yourself up totally, but from the very beginning when I was working as a waiter and selling flowers and being a telephone guy and managing a restaurant, working in a steel mill, all of that stuff is after I always saved something for myself. I always thought I need to pay myself in some place I'm not going to touch. That's just going to be for me, just in case. And thank God, how come people aren't doing that? What's the big deal about having that extra shirt, that extra pair of pants, that extra gold chain? I mean, it's great. And not if you put yourself in jeopardy that you cannot handle yourself. Financial people have been telling us for a long time, not just 3 months, 10 years ago, saying 6 months to a year.
Yes.
Where's everybody been that this is a great wake-up call? But it's like, come on. How many times do you have to hear the same thing till you finally go, I got it.
Right. I heard this the other day, and I was talking to my wife, and I don't remember who it was from, but we're so into now, it's about to do. We lost the part about to be.
Yes. And I would say out of this, exactly what you're talking, be able to see your face versus I just talked to you on the phone. Right. To see each other, it brings back our connection. We hadn't seen each other for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Right. But when we were, not just in the mastery, but before, through peak events and other things, always got to share some camaraderie, some kind of vulnerability, some kind of sense where we took a piece of each other away with us, that it lives within us. And even though it's been a couple of years now, as soon as we see each other, we're back there. We're back connected. And this connection is such a huge piece of the human spirit. When we're babies and we're born, we know that if your babies are not held, they're not given affection and tenderness and care and love, the spirit, they actually wither. We are just babies bigger. We still need affection. We still need care. We still need tenderness. We still need love. Creatively pretended like we can live without it. At the expense of our spirit, our nurturing, and if nothing else, being able to now use Zoom or Skype or FaceTime, and we actually see people more. And people are actually looking to connect again, not just speak. I've watched people who, when they're busy lives, they do a FaceTime or they do Zoom or they do something, they're still busy doing rather than with the virtual cocktail party, right? Or the virtual glass of wine.
I've seen a lot of that recently. They're having those. Yeah.
We're spending like an hour at a time with another couple or two other couples, just talking and staying. And then since it's only us, we're actually asking questions that we really want to know. How are you? What are you scared? Are you angry? Are you overwhelmed? Are you depressed? Are you cut off? Because you just don't want to feel so much as you feel. And I think that's one of the huge things people have to really come to realize is the sensitivity that all resides in us is really right there.
Right.
And it does not get in the way of business. It does not get in the way of relationships. It actually enhances them and deepens them. I wonder, and I know you've worked with people who have gotten very wealthy, and God bless them, great. But at the cost of what?
Right. There's the other side. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're going to have a more perfect union. That's not just a state verbiage. It's actually a more perfect union with ourselves, with the people we most care about. We actually have to breathe, go slower, enrich the moment. And you mentioned Harvey even said this one, said, I probably would have still done the things I did, but I would have gone so much slower. Because the toll on our bodies, our spirits, our ability to recover. You know, sports people know if you do not give yourself a chance to recover, you start playing hurt. And as soon as you start playing hurt, you get hurt more.
Right.
And we need to know that as human beings. If we're playing hurt in relationship and we pretend like it doesn't matter, we get hurt more. We cannot keep pretending like we're not conscious of the things that we're conscious of. We cannot keep pretending I don't like it, therefore I can deny it and it'll go away. It won't. A thing is what it is. To own it or be responsible for it the way it is, then we can create. But without that second step, without the acknowledgement of it is, even if it sucks, there it is.
Right. I love it. This is,
yes. And then also what people will discover if they start to look at that and they start to see reality as it is, they start to discover how able they are compared to no one else. If I compare myself to somebody else, I immediately diminish myself. But if I don't, if I just start to see, I'm able to do this, I'm able to do this, I'm able to do this. And when I tell people a lot of times say, I have no confidence. And I say, yes, you do. They say, no, I have no confidence. You know, I'm shy, but I have no confidence. I said, yeah, you do. No, I have no confidence. One of the reasons I'm here to take this course with you. And I say, okay, but you're really confident that you have no confidence. And they go, what? I said, all you've been proving to me is you are so confident that you have no confidence. That's called confidence. You just think if you're confident, you shouldn't feel nervous. You shouldn't feel scared. And you're looking to a feeling as opposed to discovering, I'm able to do this. Not as well as somebody who's done it 1,000 times. Great. I'm just doing it for the first time or the 10th time. Why would I expect to be? Golf is a great guy, practices 500 swings a day. You go out once every 6 months. It's like, where's your perspective? You go out once every 6 months. Look, you're in beautiful real estate, extraordinary vistas. You're outside. You're moving your body. You're usually with friends. What's not to enjoy? But discover how able you are. And every time you do it, you become a little more able. It's really important compared to no one else.
Right, compared to no one else. I think I got nothing to say. It's so true. We do that. I got nothing to say. With a family from New York even, I got nothing to say. But it is.
Yes. And then to start acknowledging. Also, you keep reminding things. It's really cool because I travel a lot in Asia, but it's also true in America and Canada, that parents have this extraordinary ability to manipulate their kids, regardless of how old they are. And when I hear when I say older people, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, keep talking about their parents and what they're doing and how they do it, I say, do you ever just step back and go, wow, Ma, Dad, that was awesome. You really tried I want to tell you how you are manipulating me is masterful. You keep doing this. You tell me this. You tell me what a bad son I am, what a bad daughter I am. You are the best. Good for you. And they go, what's the matter with you?
Right.
Nothing. I just realized part of your gig is to make me feel bad about who I am. Even though you said, think for yourself. They didn't really mean that. It's think for yourself as long as you think the way I think. I just saw, it was on Downton Abbey. They were talking about the daughter getting a new frock, what they called it. And she said, you're going to let her pick something? And she goes, absolutely, as long as she picks something that I like. That was the mother talking about her daughter.
I remember.
My parents, be anything you want as long as you're happy. Become a garbage man. They didn't mean it.
Right.
Even though there's an extraordinary amount of money in waste management right now. They didn't mean it. They were like, doctor, and so we have to actually realize the games that they have learned how to play, that their parents played on them, but we don't appreciate them for going, because then we would start being responsible, not being a victim of them, but actually saying, hey, you know what? I hear everything you're saying. Fabulous. I know you love me. I know you're scared for me. I know you're worried about me. Except you told me, and I really believed it, think for myself. And so now I am. And now you have to appreciate. I have my mind. And the hardest thing for kids with their parents is the individuation process. And that we normally think that takes place between 14 and 20, 21, 22. Sometimes it takes till 30 or 40 or 50. But finally to say, I am separate from my parents. That's the individuation of seeing myself separate from those that brought me in. I'm not dishonoring them. I'm not disgracing them. I'm not a bad son. I just choose for myself how my life is going to be, which we have to realize our parents did that too. And we don't applaud them enough for being the extraordinary manipulators that they are, tone as well as words, that you need to be conscious so you don't pass that on to your kids, so that we are not the same, perpetuating the same thing. Each generation, it's incumbent on us to raise our parents and then to raise our kids and let our kids raise us, to break the boundaries so that we're not just so invested in being my way.
Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. We're going to run out of time here, but this has been great, actually, because it's the kind of thing where this message is so critical. At the same time, it's timeless.
Yeah.
And, people, right? That's the thing, is it's timeless. And what's exciting me is not you and I today. Well, this is great anyways, but it brings back those memories right away. I'm right back where we were, but it also, I'm thinking, who's going to listen to this and hear you 10 years from now, 15 years, maybe kids, grandkids, great grandkids, nieces, nephews, their generations, and that message will go on timelessly. And that to me, that's that legacy.
Yeah, the coronavirus is in our face. Okay, so that's evident. That's something that, and I still hear people, I had a conversation that they think it's a hoax. It's being blown out of proportion. And then I just said, okay, talk to everybody who died. That's not a hoax to them. Everybody that's sick and all the doctors and nurses who are working their asses off to save us. Anyway, so this is a crisis in our face. However, 10 years from now, we may not have the in-our-face crisis, but whatever we haven't confronted, met with, there's those mini crises. And if we don't handle it right away, it's like a little hole in a little pipe. It's not, I don't need to change the pipe because it's just a little hole. I'll just tape it up. Well, ultimately that becomes a big leak. And then the damage done by the big leak is far beyond what it cost you to handle the little leak. Right. So if we don't pay attention to each other, the relationships, to the business, to ourselves, every one of those suffer. And why do we wait for a major crisis as opposed to the mini challenges along the way, and to start getting good at handling the mini challenges so when the big one comes, we're already prepared, especially with self. You look great, but I know when I saw you at your peak of being so busy, there was hardly any time for you. You were getting exhausted, and yet you're willing yourself through, partially because you gave your word, but partially because the surrounding atmosphere was do more. Don't worry, you'll recover later. And we can't do that. There's no athlete after every competition that doesn't go, I need to recover before I go out there.
Right. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're right. It is. This has been, even for me, you're right, because I've been home now. I've actually only been home 3 weeks, so it's not, but I've been home. I'm not going anywhere for another 4 weeks to 6 weeks I don't know how, and even though busy online, have really used this time. I've been praying more. I've been meditating more. I've been spending more time with my wife, just trying to slow down.
That's awesome.
And I do. It is that feeling for all of us that there's so much out here that we miss all the time because, again, we're just doing instead of being.
Yes.
So, and we have more to talk about. So Larry's actually already committed, not that I'm telling all of you, but the Mentor Student Vertical Live does do live calls, and Larry's committed to do one of those. It'll be in just a couple of weeks, and we will record it for the podcast too, so those of you not part of that community yet can listen to it. Again, it's never been about we're hiding something from anybody. You just can't be on the live part, but you can definitely hear the interaction. And we'll also talk more also about mastery. I think that's really important. And you'll see that on the site too, everybody, because he's going to send me his headshot and bio. And also, at the same time, they all know this is great. At the same time, we're really here for all of you. So, Larry, this has been great today. And you don't hang up, because when I turn them off, as we say, all right, you should never say that, right? Don't ever say turn your radios off. Yeah. But there's a great line from Fraser once. But it is truly the difference we're going to make. This has been an empowering, session. And there's so much more. This is just the beginning, right?
Yes.
This is just the beginning. It's getting that message out. So any last little tidbits before I say my goodbyes to all these wonderful people?
Yeah, 3 things. So if you are speaking with someone, pay attention to them, be in relationship with them so that whatever you say, even if it's 2 words, it has a chance to resonate. So you have to look to see if what you're saying lands. Number 2, take a breath. Don't try to jam 20 minutes into a 2-minute conversation. Discover in 2 minutes what is the most important and then stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3rd thing, make sure you say and that they see you say goodbye to them so that you don't finish the relationship before you finish.
That's right. I'm taking notes, by the way. I'm looking away from him for the moment. I wrote those 3 down, so thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, Larry, thank you for being on today again. We'll be hearing a lot more from you, of course. You were an important part of my life as I was going through transitions at that time.
Thank you.
It's just a huge difference. And everybody out there, thank you for those that are responding essential workers, those that are staying at home, and everybody. Just healing is what it's about right now. And just let's be smart. Let's really be a community, a family, and let's be instead of doing at the moment. Follow what Larry said, because it's awesome. I took notes and I'm going right to that. And we really appreciate you spending your time with us today. We know you listen. We know you have a lot to do in your life. You're going to get back to being busy, and that's okay. Take this time to really listen. So for myself at the Mentor Studio and the Vertical Live, Larry Gilman, thank you so much. And if a lot of you have heard Larry Gilman, you'll find him on our links and sites. But also, you just go to Larry Gilman. Just put it in Google, and trust me, it comes up everywhere. Put it in Safari, it comes up everywhere. And you'll see the mastery, you'll see his background. And he's truly brilliant. So thank you again, Larry. Thank you, the Mentor Studio audience. Whatever time in the world you are, have a great morning, afternoon, or evening. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you next time soon. See, I said goodbye. Just see.
Yes, that's great. Be safe, be healthy. Yeah.
Be healthy, be happy, and we'll talk to you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks.
We're honored that you invested time with us today at the Mentor Studio. Now, don't be greedy. Share this knowledge bomb with all your dope peeps on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Actually, we'll even pay you to do it. To get the deets, please check out thementorstudio.com.